Good morning, everyone. So what I'm going to present today is called Munchpin, and it's essentially a mobile app that aims to make it possible for people to actually connect with others easily, people with relevant interests, and actually have meaningful conversations, preferably over a meal. So what we allow people to do is to actually rediscover their existing friends over their common interests, or to actually meet new people who share their interests. So why did we create this app? We found two problems, actually. The first problem was that people felt that it was difficult to connect. You're not sure what your friends are actually interested in deep down. And the other thing is that if you want to connect to professors with other students, you don't have that common interest topic. It's very difficult for you to find that common ground to actually come together and know more about each other. For example, if you want to know more about your professor, you might not know what he's actually interested in to actually strike up the conversation with him. So we get situations where one guy wants to talk about his work or talk about his kids, but you don't have kids or you're not in his line of work. So you're kind of stuck and you get an awkward silence. So we want to solve that. The other thing is that a lot of people, they have to eat alone because their friends are unable to make it for whatever reasons, due to maybe conflicts and schedules with their modules or last-minute cancellations. And for this problem, a lot of people have this phobia of eating alone. And as a result, they skip lunch or even, which is not very healthy for them.
Is that right?
Sorry?
People skip the meal?
Yes, some people actually skip meals.
Okay.
Just because they can't find people to eat with. Or if you take a look at cafes or whatsoever, people actually pretend to be busy because they're alone. They don't want to appear to be alone. It's just a social phobia for some reason. And some people resort to takeaways or just cooking some very poor meal, like some hot dog or something. So, we want to change that. So the problem with the current solution is that the most advanced solution is kind of still text messaging. So you can't exactly text message to ask your professor, hey, are you interested in this or that? It would kind of be like spamming him. Because you have to basically strike every single category of topics or whatsoever before you find that common ground. So we aim to make it very simple. So you actually post it, and as in people can actually see it. There's no need for people to actually ask around and spam people. Yep, so this will be my demonstration. Right, so if you take a look at the screen on the left, your right, my left. Right, so okay. Right, so this is the create event screen. We have 4 screens: find event, create event, buddies, and settings. So for the first screen, we're creating events. You can set the time. For example, let's say 12:30. The place. What happens at this point of time is that we actually use the Google Maps API, which allows you to actually determine your location. So if you notice, we are somewhere near West Coast Park, and if we zoom in,
just check back to your plug.
yeah, we can actually detect that we are near the University Cultural Center. Let's zoom in some more. Yep, and it detects that we are actually near the School of Environment and Design, near Chinese Library, and Engineering Drive 4. So it's pretty accurate. And so down here you can actually see the list of places that are nearby, so that when people arrange to meet at a place, they actually meet at the correct place. They can, as in this are actual places based on Google Maps API. So you don't have the problem of telling him, oh, let's meet at McDonald's. And then he asks, where's McDonald's? And you have to describe, oh, it's beside this canteen and that canteen, and he gets lost. So it bypasses all that trouble. So the moment you choose that location, it's an actual location, and there'll be no confusion. So let's say we choose the UCC. And for the focus, let's pick technology. And for the topic, let's pick creating mobile apps. Okay, and we save. Okay, let's wait for a while. Oops. Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah, and down here you see that within the next 1 hour, which is at 12:30 p.m., you actually have this event down here. And the next thing is Facebook Open Graph API. So you can actually load all your buddies or rather your friends from Facebook. So these are actual people in Facebook. You can try this later.
Where are your events stored in?
We're actually storing it on StackMount, so it's not on this server.
Okay.
Yeah, there was some problem with the refreshing just now.
Okay.
Yeah. So down here it's all your Facebook friends, so you can just add them. Okay, and
so who can see the event? So in this case, you have created an event.
Yep.
Who can actually see the list of events that you have created?
For now it's public.
Oh, anybody can see that?
Yes.
As long as they have this application?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Right. And the other thing is it's built on Titanium. So what we aim to do with Titanium is to actually make it possible for cross-platform release on both iOS and Android.
Right.
And last thing.
About us.
Sorry. What are you using?
Nokia, BlackBerry.
Oh,
Come on, man.
we'll develop for that like afterwards, as in soon.
Give you a hard time.
We have to focus on.
Does Titanium go across all? I know PhoneGap.
It's not perfect, but it's better than PhoneGap
Because
apparently.
if it does go across all and you don't do it for BlackBerry Nokia, then we have to give you a hard time.
As in some of the APIs are just for iOS and some of it is just for Android. So
The API mapping.
yeah, like for example the buttons. Some of the buttons are not portable. Some of the iOS buttons. So we have to basically recreate it if we're going to port over to Android.
But that's purely JavaScript and HTML, right? So
Yeah.
far, the development environment is using
JavaScript.
HTML, and CSS.
Not CSS yet.
Okay.
It's
Just
mainly
JavaScript.
just JavaScript.
Okay.
And
Yeah, remember, we have to give you points at the end.
right, and the last thing is for the mobile notification, for the push notifications, right? What we do is actually we use Urban Airship. So, and we are trying to build a chat function in, but it didn't work in time. So, yeah, it worked on the Mac, but when we transferred over to the other PC, it didn't work. So, yeah. Okay. Right, so there are 4 important ideas behind this app, and it's about connecting people, meeting people nearby with geolocation enabled, meeting real people, not just chatting over online or just seeing the text. You actually see face to face. And to actually connect with people in depth over things that you actually care about. Because I think people can only connect when you talk about things that you deeply feel about. As in, if you're just talking about random stuff, it's difficult to connect sometimes. Yep, and that's the end of my presentation.
So at this moment, who are your competitors? Which are the competing apps that are very similar to what you have at this moment?
We have apps like Grow Up With Us, Wednesdays.com, but the problem with that is that they actually don't provide interest matching. So they just bring a bunch of random people together.
Right.
And they don't actually provide location. So people actually don't really organize events on there. It's created by the app maker itself.
Okay.
So you can't really use it for meeting with professors and things like that.
Right. But based on your demo, what I saw was you created an event and you share it with the whole world. So whoever has got your application can actually see the event, and then they can actually what can they do?
They can join the event.
Join the event.
And
Okay.
in the future, we are aiming to add chat as well, so
Okay.
they can.
What about the part on interest?
Mm-hmm.
What about the part on interest? That means you only mentioned about the event is about creating mobile apps, and then so the user will just look at this and say, okay, this is something that they are interested in, and then they'll just join this event. Is that what your application is doing?
As in, what we plan to do in the future is to actually add in category matching based on your interest on Facebook. So,
Okay.
but it's not in yet. So I didn't want to talk
Understand.
about every stuff that wasn't in yet.
Okay.
Yeah, because the competition is based on whatever is done, right?
Okay.
If it's about what we plan to do, then I have a lot more to talk about.
So as of now, the interest is based on what you enter when you create an event.
Yeah.
I'm interested in talking about my kids. I'm interested in talking about whatever technology. And what if somebody shows up and doesn't want to talk about kids or technology?
Then the person wouldn't join that event in the first place, unless the person is a troll. But then if you're a troll, you wouldn't appear on the event and show your face, right? That's against the troll culture, kind of. The main thing is to be anonymous and piss people off and
Right, but it's
laugh
kind
behind
of
the screen.
lunch, meet me for lunch sort of thing. So rather than actually an event, as in like, many people coming together talk about Facebook apps.
Yeah, in fact, we plan to actually keep the group small, with like about 4 people,
Okay.
so that you actually get to know each other well enough.
And how do you do that at the moment? Is there some sort of limitation?
Yeah, it's limited to 4 people.
It's limited to 4 people.
Yeah.
I see, okay. So I can't set my own limits. You say I only want to have lunch with one other person or with 5 other people.
Not yet. I
Okay.
think, yeah.
Okay, but there is a limitation in there for 4 people to join the event.
Yep.
Alright.
Can we take a look at your maybe the profile page? Because you have to set up a profile, right?
Oh, it's actually kind of loaded when you log into Facebook. So we actually take the data from Facebook. Yep.
I see. You want to see?
So we got DOB, gender, contact.
And all this data are extracted from Facebook, right?
Yep. You can
So whatever
try
you-
logging in
Okay.
to see if your data gets extracted.
I'm not going to do that.
So does it extract other information like interests?
Not yet.
You logged in as a female.
Oh, yeah. That's someone else.
What was that about the trolling? No.
That's
that's
how he
someone
gets people
else's.
to come for lunch.
Yeah.
So and then one thing about Facebook login is you can't really troll people because part of your real name will be actually displayed. So
One of the things that I was quite captivated earlier on, initially when you talk about how to actually get students to connect with professors by creating events. But after the end of the whole presentation, I don't see a good so-called compelling demonstration of how I can actually use your app to bridge the gap between the students and the professor. I don't know, is it something that you can explain to us, or is it in the future pipeline? At least from this app, I don't see how you can actually bridge the gap to get the students to chat with the professor.
Yeah.
So, for example, the professor or the student can, either one of them has to initiate it, definitely.
Sure.
So, for example, the professor, that it's easier for him to initiate. He can say, "Oh, I'm interested in animals.
Okay.
So, who wants to like join me for lunch?" So then you can actually get people to come together.
Okay.
Yeah. So it kind of allows people to open up about their interests.
Okay.
I think like I guess I'm just struggling a little bit from a psychology perspective, because sort of a psychology and like a use case perspective, because if I'm going to plan an event of sorts, not only do I have to do that sort of in advance, or at least think about it before I go to lunch, but I also have to be sort of a pretty, I don't know, not quite type A, but pretty socially active person. Because that's psychologically, to create an event and organize a group of people, even if it's a small group, is a pretty out there thing to do. But if I'm eating by myself, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not socially outgoing. Maybe it just is circumstance, right? But yeah, I don't know if people, I mean, I feel like when you were first sort of expressing the problem, I think it's a really interesting problem.
Female to male.
But the solution of creating an event in advance doesn't seem to tie with the problem very well. I was kind of expecting you to show something that's like, here's my location, here's what table I'm sitting at,
Yeah.
and my profile shows that here's all the things I like, and then you know, people, and I'm eating by myself, or I'm walking to the cafe by myself right now. But to create an event in advance, I don't know if that really matches with like what's happening, you know, with what the person is experiencing.
Yeah, in other words, the problem statement is that it's kind of a last-minute problem. It's a kind of a last-minute thing you're trying to solve and connect people, but then the user interface, the whole use case that you have to go through, suggests that you need to actually have planned something in advance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The intention is actually more for impromptu. So for the interface, right, it's sort of, as in if you notice, it actually loads
I'm sorry,
from
I
the.
have a question.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, as in if you notice, right, it actually takes the current time. So okay, when we go to create, if you choose the time, it actually takes the current time. So right now it's 12. Just now it was 11 something. So the time was like 11 something. So it actually takes the current time. So what you do is you can just choose 15 minutes later and just be done with it.
But you can't actually find people that are near you. Is that right?
Not
You
yet.
can only find events that are near you.
Events, yes.
Okay. When you create events on the app, will it be integrated into your native calendar?
Not yet.
Okay. And then for the profile, will it will be automatically pulled from Facebook? I understand.
Yes.
But can you edit it?
Yes.
Okay. So you can enter in your own information on the
Yeah.
app itself. Okay.
You can enter in your phone number if you want to share it.
Okay.
You might want to also think about sort of biases against who people want to hang out with and why. Do I want to hang out with you because your profile says you're female? And I want to see if you're attractive, and so I'll just go see you regardless of what you like or don't like. Do I want to hang out with you because your profile says you're a professor, and it will be to my advantage to have a relationship with a professor, or maybe, you know, become friends and whatever. So, or is it truly like, are people taking an unbiased approach to just hanging out because they're interested in the same topic, and I want to talk about my dog today, or because I want to talk about my dog, but there's a guy that likes dogs and there's a girl that likes dogs. Am I going to make a biased sort of choice, you know? So you might want to like sort of be cognizant of that, you know? So like the professor thing, maybe kind of don't even go down that path. Just say there's a person with an interest. If the person happens to end up being a professor, then so be it, because the professor may not want to use your service, because think about the ratio of professors to students, and how many students would love to probably be friends with their professor, but the professor may not really want to be friends with all the students, right? Because there's a offset ratio. So like, but if the professor can sort of be anonymous and just know that we're just hanging out because you like the same thing I do, you don't know who I am, you don't know if I'm famous or if I'm attractive or if whatever, we just have some interest, then it may be better serve your goal.
As in, so far when, as in the original intention was to make it anonymous so that you don't have creeps stalking people.
Yeah, exactly.
But as we talked to more people, they actually felt that they wanted to see the profile. So I think the compromise is that what we can do is to actually make it possible for people to turn it on and off, to either be anonymous or to actually show the profile. And I think it allows people, as in, for example, professors, if they want the attention, they can do it. If they don't want the attention, they want to really meet people to talk about things and get in depth and really make true friends, then I suppose they can make themselves anonymous.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, there's a lot of non-tech problems here too. This is not a technical problem really. I mean, this solution could be part of it, but you may want to think about supplementing your solution with non-technical things, helping people like put a paper on their table that's like, come eat with me, or like I don't know. What was the other thing I thought of? Like some way to identify or help people. Maybe people eat alone all the time because they don't have good communication skills. Maybe they need to help in some other ways that has nothing to do with tech. Could sort of think about outside of the app. How do you just generally help people connect better?
Yeah, I think the problem that he's trying to solve is a very interesting one.
Yeah.
Just that it's not really that easy to tackle.
Yeah.
So.
Because if you're really talking about people that you gave the example of that are going to skip a meal because they don't want to be perceived to be eating alone, there's a psychological thing going on there that is not going to lend itself well to creating an event and organizing people and being this really outgoing, stand up on the table and be like, come eat with me, kind of thing. Maybe the opposite. It's kind of, it's a tough one.
So they'll be more likely to actually join something rather than create something.
Sometimes, yeah. But if it's just out there and you're just one of many people with a location shared and interest shared and I'm near you, because then it's also the step of, I see that you're sitting right over there, but now I got to actually get up and go and sit with you, That's also a hard step. So it's very interesting. I mean, if you can succeed in getting people to connect, it's pretty cool. But it's a big one.
Finally, for an application that is like that, which is sort of like a social application, your post-marketing is really important. If nobody's going to be using your app, eventually your user base will just die down. Yeah, so you might want to think about that.
We were actually thinking about starting off with USB, as in, because they are like a concentrated group of students in that area, and professors are actually supposed to mix with the students. So we were thinking of starting off by providing this as a platform for professors to actually connect students.
USB?
University Scholars Program.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were thinking of starting there so that you actually get a group of people, as in, on the start, right, you actually get a group of people using it rather than you gather users one by one, and where it's not useful in the beginning where there's only one or two users.
Okay.
Can I recommend a future feature?
Yes, I'd love to.
That would be cool. It's like geofencing. So if I walk into a room, I can get a push notification that there's somebody nearby that is eating alone. Maybe in my within so many meters, there's somebody eating alone, and since I have the app, it pops up. Based on my coordinates, something like that. Because it's got to be ad hoc. It's got to be on the fly. It can't be. I don't think the pre-planning thing is really gonna work. But if you can do it on the fly, then it could work.
It's a great suggestion.
I don't know. Maybe easier said than done, but.
As in, we could get the coordinates. But we have to manually actually go down there and measure the coordinates. But I think it's possible.
It could be nearby if you do it within as long as you get an actual GPS lock. So it's not like a triangulation of a big area. Once you get down to a certain lock, just create like geofence range of like so many meters. And if you're just somewhere nearby, I mean, if it's walking distance, then it's close enough.
It can just be a button, right? Say, I'm alone, come eat with me, and leave it open for people to. I
think
to
so.
be able to know that you're
It's
there.
gotta be, because if you can just sit down at your table and like, I'm kind of bummed to be alone, just push the button.
Yeah.
And then anybody within a range gets a pop-up. Something like that.
Who's alone as well, so.
Yeah.
if that's your initial goal, then I think it's yeah, good solution.
I think you're going to have to think through this idea quite a bit and maybe pivot in a different direction. Because the premise that you're targeting people who don't want to eat alone, and yet also targeting people who don't have friends to eat with, I think that subset of people is very small. If you're the popular kids, they already have people to eat with. If they're not the popular kids, they're probably used to eating alone or dead from hunger. Right? So you might have to have a look at what you want to target, who you want to target. Maybe it's sociable people who don't like eating alone, have plenty of friends, but it's a schedule matching problem rather than a can't find people problem. And of course, depending on what your problem is and how you tackle it, it will have an effect on your marketing as well. And as Facebook has shown, this is one of the greatest environments that you're in now to create that kind of, to push it through with marketing. For example, giving it to the cool kids first and making it exclusive, and then before you know it, everybody on campus is trying to get in so that they can find something to eat with, when practically you can just walk to any of the canteens and find someone. But it's creating that desirability factor. But first you need to decide what you're trying to do, whether it's a problem you're trying to solve or a feature that you're trying to push on people to make their lives better. That's something you have to decide.
Are you alone in this team, or do you have other teammates?
Oh, I have other teammates.
How many team members are there in your group?
3 people.
They left you alone to present your thing about being alone.
Yeah, in a way.
All right, cool. Great. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.